But first tonight, our top story tonight. No charge sheet, no evidence and no chance to defend himself. A retired Indian Navy commander working in Iran, abducted by Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI, has now been sentenced to death by a Pakistan military court. The Pakistanis claim that Kulbhushan Jadav was a spy. For the last 1 year, India has made 13 attempts to get access to Jadav, all rejected by Islamabad. It's our top story tonight.
Not a shred of evidence, no formal trial, yet a man is sentenced to death. That's the shocking truth of Pakistan's military judicial system. Indian businessman and a former Indian Navy officer, Commander Kulbhushan Jadav, has been sentenced to death without a fair trial by a Pakistan military court. A military court passed the sentence, which has been confirmed by Pakistan's Army Chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa. Pakistan has accused Jadav of being an agent of the Research and Analysis Wing, arrested during a counter-intelligence operation in Baluchistan. The Pakistani military court ruling came even as Pakistan's top diplomat Sartaj Aziz admitted they did not have conclusive evidence against Kulbhushan Jadav. In a hard-hitting response, India warned Pakistan against sending Jadav to the gallows. New Delhi said it was clear that the trial was a farce and no norms of law and justice were followed. India has said if Jadav is hanged, it will be premeditated murder. Not only has India not been given consular access to Jadav since his arrest in March last year, but the High Commission wasn't even informed of a military court-martial.
They have arrested him for espionage. They are charging him with espionage. But you don't hang people, you know. This is a civilized world.
I'm only hoping that this is at the moment merely a sort of dabav, an act of pressure, and that eventually this is a matter the two governments will have to discuss and decide. We have never done any such thing, and it seems completely horrific.
In Mumbai, Kulbhushan Jadav's friends, relatives and associates are both shocked and angry.
जब हमें पता चला कि न्यूज़ में 1 साल पहले, तभी हम सब दोस्तों ने यहाँ कैंपेनिंग भी की थी और भारत सरकार को उसी दिन वही टाइम पे हमने गुहार लगाई थी कि भाई जो सरबजीत के साथ हुआ वो शायद इनके साथ भी कर सके पाकिस्तान.
It is now feared that the Kulbhushan Jadav case may just go the Sarabjit Singh way. The sentencing by a military court and not a civilian one has shown that the all-powerful Pakistan Army is once again calling the shots. With Kaswar Klasra in Islamabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's time to raise certain big questions tonight. Why was Kulbhushan Jadav denied a fair trial is the first question that I want to pose tonight. The Pakistan government called the evidence inconclusive. What new proof does the army have that they have sentenced Kulbhushan Jadav to death? Why was Kulbhushan Jadav, a civilian, tried in a military court? Why were the proceedings of the trial kept a secret? Why was India denied consular access to Jadav? Is Jadav simply a pawn in the Indo-Pak standoff in Kashmir and Baluchistan? Joining me now is Tulsidas Pawar, friend of Kulbhushan Jadav. I'm also joined by TCA Raghavan, who was the High Commissioner of Pakistan till a year ago, so knows the case in detail. Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, former Army Commander, Northern Command, joining me. Admiral Retired Javed Iqbal, Defence Analyst, joins me from Lahore. And Farzana Bari, the Pakistan human rights activist, is also with me on Skype from Pakistan. I appreciate all of you joining us. I want to come to you first, Tulsidar Pawar, because you are a friend of Kulbhushan Jadav. It is being said that Mr. Jadav was a spy. The Pakistanis are saying he was a spy. आपकी जानकारी क्या है? जादव जी किस तरह के व्यक्ति थे? क्या बिजनेस था उनका?
या कुलभूषण जाधव हमारा बचपन का ही दोस्त है और वो हेल्प नेचर था उसका। कोई किसी को कुछ तकलीफ होती या कुछ मदद के लिए आता था, मांगता था, तो वो ज़रूर उनके पास चला जाता था। हम दोस्तों के साथ भी अच्छा रिलेशन था। यहाँ पे कुछ फंक्शन रहेगा, हमारे बिल्डिंग में पूजा होती थी, वरना पूजा, वो खुद आके मदद करने को तैयार रहता था। जब भी वो छुट्टी में आता था ट्रेनिंग के दौरान, तभी कुछ ना कुछ उसके हम लोग उसको बताते रहते थे, भाई ऐसा प्रॉब्लम वैसा प्रॉब्लम।
मैं आपको एक मिनट आपको रोक रहा हूं क्योंकि टीसीए राघवन, यू आर हियरिंग व्हाट इज बीइंग सेड बाय फ्रेंड्स। नाउ दे से दैट ही वाज friendly with, he was someone who worked in the community. However, there is this huge question mark. The Pakistanis, Mr. Raghavan, are claiming that Kulbhushan Jadav was a spy. Now, you were High Commissioner till not too long ago in Pakistan. How do you see what the Pakistanis are saying? Does it fit in with the narrative that when you catch an Indian in Pakistan in suspicious circumstances, they will call him a spy and subject him to a military trial?
Well, there is no doubt that very large numbers of people in Pakistan have convinced themselves that whatever is happening in Balochistan is the result of Indian spies. It is a subject on which there is near unanimity. So in that context, the fact that this recent decision has been greeted by somewhat large amount of support is not very surprising.
Were you denied consular access? Was the High Commission trying to get in touch with Jadav? Do you believe that they were deliberately denied any access to him during this trial process?
Well, it is a fact that consular access was sought a number of times. But it is also a fact that in the cases of these so-called security-related prisoners, consular access is rarely granted. So it is not as if this is the only instance of consular access being denied. There are very many cases of this kind which have been so in the past too.
But having said that, Javed Iqbal, the fact is the manner in which these military courts operate, many believe these are kangaroo courts. Pakistan has set them up to deal with terrorists without giving them a fair trial. You deny consular access, you deny any access to the family of Mr. Jadav, and today he is sentenced to death. India is calling it murder.
Yes, India should call it a murder because India used to murdering Kashmiris and others. In Pakistan, he is not the only one who was tried by military court. The other people who are terrorists, they are also being tried. And after all, Kulbhushan was a serving Indian Navy officer.
Should he not have the right to a fair defense, Mr. Admiral Iqbal? Admiral Iqbal, should he not have a right to a fair defense, sir? Should he not have a right to a fair defense?
Allow me to continue. Allow me to continue.
No, I am asking you a question.
Allow me to complete myself.
Should he not have the right to a fair defense?
Previous question. I say I have the right to complete my answer.
Yes, do. Please do, sir.
So don't disturb. I said that if there is, somebody is charged with the crime of, a spy, tell me that in which country do you also, try the spies and give them, honey and sugar and send them back? The fact is that it is proved beyond doubt that he was, carrying out spy activities, terrorist activity in Balochistan, in Karachi, and he admitted it.
Why can there be not an open and fair trial? India conducted, sir, an open and fair trial, even in the case of 2611. When a terrorist was caught red-handed, we still gave Ajmal Kasab a fair trial. Why couldn't Mr. Jadav be given a fair trial? That's what I'm asking you, and you're not responding to that.
We gave them. Look, you see, the fair trial is whatever is law of the land. Today, the law of land as terrorists and all such people, even those who are Pakistani, are military court. This is under the law. This is something which has been passed by Parliament. So how do you say that he was not given a fair trial?
Because in the Indian jurisprudential system, even someone who is charged with terrorism like Ajmal Kasam is given a fair trial.
I don't care.
That's the difference.
I don't care about I don't care about Indian jurisprudence. For my country, there is a parliament, there is a civilian, government, and it has been approved, and it is military courts are for a special purpose.
Some military courts,
ratified.
so with due respect, military courts operate in a manner that most human rights activists believe are completely out of sync with 21st century jurisprudence. You are judge, jury, prosecutor. You already decided at the start of the case that Mr. Jadav was a spy. You did not allow consular access. You did not allow him a proper defense. And today you are sentencing him to death.
I am saying you are doing it for last 70 years in Kashmir.
Sir, let us please not equate Kashmir into this.
Human rights.
Let's look at the specific case.
No, it is, I'm telling you, you have killed 6 people in last week. You are firing pellet guns. What are you doing?
Now
look at the Bangladesh.
Admiral Iqbal, I don't want to make this yet another nauseating debate about India and Pakistan, because Farzana Bari, this is a complex issue.
Look, according to our law, he will be given, a right to appeal in Supreme Court, and also the President of Pakistan, and according to law, he is not the only one who has been sentenced to death. So there is nothing new in it.
Farzana Bari, Pakistan human rights activist, you are hearing what is being said by Admiral Iqbal. Do you believe that this is a case where the individual has not even been given the basic rights due to any prisoner?
I think in this particular case, as far I know, that he has been given, a proper lawyer. And he will be given, as I think what I was hearing Admiral is saying, that he will be given a chance to go into Supreme Court for the appeal, and later on he can also appeal to the President. I think he will be given, unfortunately, I think in every nation state, if you will caught somebody, who has entered in a country without a visa and been involved in kind of activities which of course are against the interest of that particular country, unfortunately, every nation state will act in the same way. Now, I think for me, the major question is why this is happening. I think the question you and I should be asking, that what is the major enmity between these two countries? I mean, we are suffering. People of both countries are suffering like anything, because this enmity which is being created by these two nation states has really taken a heavy toll on people's lives.
Can I'll come to that question. I'll come to the question. You raise a valid question, ma'am. The enmity and hatred between the two countries means suspicion mounts on each occasion. But I want to ask you, therefore, that Lieutenant General Jaswal, the Pakistani general, the admiral on my program, is almost linking it A to Kashmir, B to terrorism that he believes takes place within India, and suggests that the Indian state engages in state terrorism, and is likening Mr. Jadav's case in a way to what happens in the valley. How do you respond? It appears that the Pakistanis have caught an Indian in suspicious circumstances, deemed him to be a spy, and denied him any access to proper legal consular advice.
Look, both countries. Let
General Jaswal respond.
Good evening, Admiral.
If you could allow, say, like.
Good evening, Admiral, and panelists from Pakistan. Kindly allow me to, please, kindly. Now, the word spy. I have not seen a spy so far who's carrying his identity card. Was he really spying, or was he abducted as per our version? 2, if he was a spy, he should have been given consular access, which was asked 36 times by us. 3, Pakistan Army has been given extra judicial powers to sentence people to death in Balochistan. 4, why are they linking Jadav with Balochistan? They want to tell the whole world that India is the one which is sponsoring terrorism in Balochistan. That is the reason, and poor victim is the person. Now, Jadav. Now, you see, all these things don't go well. you have violated all the diplomatic norms. We kept Kasab for 2 consecutive years and Pakistan had disowned him, yet we gave him a very fair trial, and at the end of it, because there was proof which was there, there is a dichotomy in the proof which has been spoken by our advisor Sartaj Aziz and what the army has said. Mr. Sartaj Aziz had said that we do not have conclusive evidence against him. That means the extrajudicial powers meted out to the
That's exactly
Pakistan
the point.
army has
That's
come
exactly
into
the
effect.
point, Javed Iqbal. You make
That
an
is not a
important
fair
point
play.
there. General Jaswal, you make an important point,
yes.
which Admiral
Yes,
Iqbal, you
yes,
should answer.
yes.
When Sartaj Aziz
Yes.
says there is inconclusive proof, and yet today, in what is being deemed an extrajudicial manner, the military court decides that Jadav must be sentenced to death, there will be a question mark. Whether you are trying to send the signal that
Yes.
India is interfering in Balochistan and you are making Mr. Jadav in a sense the scapegoat and the target of this. If there was inconclusive evidence, then how can you sentence him to death?
There are 3 points. There are 3 points. Number 1, the thing is that Jadav was a spy. His own colleague, he says, जब वो छुट्टी पे आते थे तो वो हमसे मिलते थे. छुट्टी में कहाँ से आते थे वो? छुट्टी में वो इंडियन नेवी से आते थे. So it was proved that he was a serving person in the Indian Navy. So if he was a serving person of Indian Navy, he should have carried that
Why did
passport
Sartaj Aziz
and
say
that identity.
inconclusive proof, sir? Your foreign service advisor said there was proof, the proof was inconclusive.
I am answering. At that time, when the question was raised that why it was not raised at United Nations or by Nawaz Sharif, because at that time there were not enough, conclusive evidence that he was involved in Karachi activity and Balochistan activity. Subsequently, when Rangers carried out operation in Karachi and also in Balochistan, sufficient and absolutely clear evidence was available against him.
Put all this evidence in the public domain. Put all this evidence in the public domain. You carry out this court trial, sir, behind closed doors, not providing sufficient evidence for which should be the subject of scrutiny. That evidence has not been provided, sir. With due respect, that evidence has not been provided. Therefore, India has every right to call this an extrajudicial murder.
India can call it whatever. We call India's interference in Kashmir absolutely illegal, and the tyranny on Kashmiri people and blinding them absolutely unacceptable. Does India listen to us?
Sir,
no. So each nation has its own priority.
That is the worry.
And we will not tolerate any spy to destroy the fabric of Pakistan, and even another person coming and caught as spy will be meted the same fate.
Given this stand that you are hearing from the Pakistanis, Mr. Raghavan, do you see India having any diplomatic options? It's one thing to send a démarche to Pakistan. It's one thing to claim that this is a murder, but do we have any realistic options to try and provide some kind of succor to Mr. Jadav's family, some hope to Mr. Jadav's family today?
Well, it does appear very difficult because Mr. Jadav has been convicted in a particularly regressive way. This is not a simple military court of the kind which was set up post 2015. He was convicted by court-martial. Court-martial is normally an instrument used by armies and militaries the world over to enforce discipline in their own ranks. It's not intended to be applied to citizens of other countries. Now, because of the way the Pakistan Army Act is framed, it has been interpreted to apply this to a person who is possibly abducted from Iran, brought into Pakistan, and then trumped up as an Indian agent responsible for whatever is happening in Balochistan.
Admiral Iqbal, Admiral Iqbal, you're going to leave us. Admiral Iqbal, you're going to leave us shortly. You're listening to what Mr. Raghavan, the former High Commissioner, is saying, that this is an attempt by Pakistan, in a sense, as part of tit for tat, to somehow or the other draw India into the Baluchistan quagmire. And therefore, Mr. Jadav becomes a tool in your hands. You abduct him from Iran, and now you say he's a spy.
No, we have other, evidence also, and there are a number of raw
Put it in the public domain,
even,
sir. My point is, put it in the public domain. You call him a terrorist, you call him a spy, put it in the public domain.
I think your High Commissioner or ex-High Commissioner needs to be educated, because nowhere in the world the spies are, these military courts are meant for such spies, whether it is Russia or it is America or anywhere else in the world. These are the particular circumstances.
They put hard evidence in the public domain. You don't say inconclusive proof one day and next day put someone to death, on death row. That's my point. Put the evidence in the public domain. Give him a fair trial.
You see, why not? You see, there are people in Pakistani holding Pakistani nationality, and they are being summarily tried by military court because they are hurting the state.
Mr. Jadav is an Indian citizen who deserves the very least is a fair trial. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you are so-called Indian citizen. You are killing them without trial in Kashmir. So how can you ask us anything?
You keep bringing in Kashmir. This is not about Kashmir. This is about an individual who has...
It is about Kashmir.
It's about fair judicial process in the year 2017. It's about human rights. A spy also has human rights. That's my question. It's about human rights.
Tell me one thing.
General Jaswal, you want to respond?
Why did you send? Why did you send Jadav here? Does he have any in-laws here? Why did you send a serving commander as spy to Pakistan? Tell me why.
General Jaswal, you're hearing what the Pakistanis are once again saying, this strident position.
Please do.
Admiral, can I please reply?
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
You see, the extrapolation of what connect he is giving with Kashmir, thank you. The extrapolation of the Admiral with reference to Kashmir, it's a clear-cut quid pro quo. This is what is the extrapolation. Two, when he's talking about Kashmir, I would also like to ask as to what is the kind of weaponry that they're using in Balochistan to kill people out there. They're using starting from artillery to gunships to any other weapon, aircrafts. Have we used that in Kashmir? Despite so much of open terrorism going on over there, proxy terrorism initiated by Pakistan. So let's not say that, Kashmir we are doing something, there is something. The actual genocide in its literal meaning is actually happening in Balochistan. But leave aside that particular thing. I again reiterate my point. If he was a spy, will he carry his identity card with him? He was carrying it in Iran, was abducted and got to Balochistan. No spy, you know it, I know it, and no country owns a spy. We are owning him. Pakistan did not own Assad, whereas when people tried to contact his hometown and village, well, there was a solid cordon over there, they were not allowed to speak. We are owning the spy. The norm is you do not own a spy.
You make an important point
there. And it is the highest stupidity for a spy to carry his identity card.
You make an important point, Farzana.
So this is all about quid pro quo.
This is quid pro quo, this is tit for tat. Farzana Bari, can we at least expect that Mr. Jadav will be allowed to appeal in the Supreme Court, that the due process will be followed? Or will this, in this present atmosphere of two competing nation states, be used by Pakistan to send a sort of message that if you have Kasab, we have Jadav, and try and create what many believe is an extremely false equivalence? We caught a terrorist red-handed in 26/11. You now catch someone allegedly abducted from Iran, pass him off as a spy, link it to Balochistan. Can we expect that he will be allowed a fair trial right up to the Supreme Court, ma'am?
I think what I will say, this is not issue between, these are not individuals. I think we have to see, there are state policies which we should condemn, What we do see, there has been interference, we have been the raw and our own agencies, there is a cross-border, they're sending spies, and I think we need to say stop it. Both state has to stop this, because if this is an individual, then that becomes the fodder. As far as Jadav is concerned, I'm sure in Pakistan the human rights community will definitely ask, and in this particular case, I think it is also in the interest of Pakistani state to see the world that Jadav is given the
a fair trial. You believe that Pakistan, it is in the interest of Pakistan that Jadav is given a fair trial. Mr. Raghavan, let me give you then a final word. Do you believe that at least India can use its diplomatic powers with Pakistan, limited though they may be at the moment in the present atmosphere, to at least try and ensure a fair trial, and B, possibly a presidential pardon, something which in the past was denied to the likes of a Sarabjit Singh, with whom this case is now also being equated?
Well, I'm sure the government of India will try to do whatever it possibly can in the circumstances, adverse as they are. Nevertheless, it is also a fact that the situation in Pakistan is such that no one can precisely predict what direction events will take. And if the national of a foreign country can be court-martialed in this day and age, really we are looking at 18th and 19th century analogies.
So you're looking at essentially a state which is using...
So I do hope and feel that the government of...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sure the government will try to do what it can and will exercise whatever leverage it has. But nevertheless, this is a very, very regressive instrument to use in the present juncture, and the only possible explanation, rational explanation, is that it shows the kind of public dissatisfaction the Pakistan army is facing because of continuous terrorist attacks which continue in that country.
So Mr. Jadav in a sense becomes a soft target in the process.
They have therefore to find an...
I take your point, sir. A state which today finds itself caught in the quagmire of terrorism is perhaps using the Jadav case and court, the manner in which military courts now operate in Pakistan, to perhaps label him a spy and now send him to death. Hopefully, India will send a strong message to Pakistan to ensure that due process is followed. I appreciate my guest joining us. Clearly, the Jadav case has cast fresh shadows over the Indo-Pak relationship.